Good day, everyone. My name is Lingga Agung, and on behalf of my co-writer Patra, Aditia, and Mohammad Pramana Koesoemadinata, I will present our paper about Nusa Volume 1, an attempt to reimagine Indonesian culture. So, in the 70s, comic in Indonesia had to go through strict censorship from the authorities. Now, this kind of censorship is problematic because it eventually forms a single knowledge that constructs a single truth, which is also can be false. The Indonesian comic thus can be an alternative discourses to read the other realities because they contain the other discourses, and one of the other discourses is about the Indonesian culture itself. So in this study, we try to examine the discourse about the other Indonesian culture in the comic of Nusa Volume 1 by Sweta Kartika. And this is our research method. We use qualitative research. So in qualitative research, text is a representation of phenomena. And according to Recor, text is a standardized discourse to language. Thus, discourse is a socially constructed knowledge of some aspect of reality. So the comic itself is a discourses because it's formed by a lot of texts. And this text in a comics, it is in these two main elements, the visual language and the written language. So this comic has 7 chapters. We can see from chapter 1 and the 7th chapter. We will analyze and limit the analyze to the characters, name, setting, and the properties contained in the comic element. So after that, we will select, categorize, and interpret them. And to validate the data, we also conducted an interview with Sweta Kartika and referred to the previous research from our co-author, Patra, Aditia, and reading some literature on Indonesian comics. And we also use Foucault power and knowledge theory, because this is the theory itself is so relevant with our research because it tends to examine the relationship of power and knowledge in Indonesian culture in the comic that we are researching. So this is the result and discussion. So the comic Nusa the Volume 1 seems just to pass the Indonesian culture and doesn't show a solid Indonesian culture value both in a symbolical or philosophical context. However, in Foucault point of view, this comic can be seen as a symbol of antithesis of a normal Indonesian culture because the subtleties of Indonesian culture are a solid form of the episteme. In other words, this comic actually trying to reimage Indonesian cultures that is free from overly dominant Indonesian culture, such as the Javanese, by presenting Indonesian symbol in a more subtle and more equal way. For example, Rangga, who is a symbol of the Javanese culture, is made careless and reckless boy. This is something that we never see every day. And then the conclusion from our research that we have done, the Nusa Vibe also does something almost the same as the case above with the very significant Super Sentai formula. The discourse of Indonesian culture is formed through the relationship of power and knowledge in the 7th chapter of the comic. So it is important to underline that the episteme that form Indonesian culture discourse can be seen from the deception of the character, name, setting, and properties. Although it looks very subtle in the presenting Indonesian in the form of aesthetic and values of the past and the new, but it is the character of the epistemic. Its shape, it is very stable, not singular, and spreads sporadically. Therefore, this is a comic that attempts to reimagine Indonesian culture in a way that we see it as a whole different discourse. But as we can see, the Indonesian culture on it was a negotiation of how cultural dynamic take place in our daily life. That's all. Thank you for the committee for helping us. Good day, everyone.